My yeast is a little dead, so I'm going to talk about that tonight. But have no fear, Adam the Great is here.
Boom.
And
All right.
yeah, when your yeast is dead, there's not a hell of a lot you could do about it. It's just how it is.
Got it.
Hi, Kim, Bobby, Ron.
Hi.
Hola, everyone. Hola. Taylor.
Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Hi,
you.
Josh.
I'm really looking forward to this
Yeah,
drink.
so we're now live.
Awesome. Live.
We
Good.
are live and in color.
Live and in
my thing
color.
Cool. So how do you want to start tonight there, Adam?
Well, always with a drink, Josh, because that kind of really gets it going, you know? Always
All
with a
right.
drink.
All
So
right.
I love the, if you ask like your normal run-of-the-mill person, what is the drink that they think represents Disney the most? I mean, well, this is the answer, right, Josh? I mean,
Well, I mean, I would love to say that this drink in particular absolutely represents that answer. It might be a little bit off, but this is kind of close to that Dole Whip kind of copycat drink. So we'll see how it goes, you know?
okay. I mean, listen, tonight it's going to be the best Dole Whip I ever had because I'm not leaving my house. So that's just what I got to say, you know. And what I like about it is, this is a drink that swings both ways. I could boost it up. I could put some adult magic juices in it, or I could leave it as a kid's drink, So it works
Absolutely.
both ways. And that's what I like about it. So I'm ready to make 3 of them. Josh, you want to lead the way in your?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll lead the way. You're going to be making 3 drinks tonight. Oh boy.
I am. I'm going to. Well, yes. I have the mother-in-law, the wife, and myself.
Oh boy. All right.
So
All
I
right.
make 8 drinks actually.
Perfect. So
I might make 10 drinks. Okay. You go first, Josh.
All right. So tonight's drink is, hopefully I didn't confuse anybody with the ingredients list. I kind of thought about it retrospectively after we sent it out. But when I said alcohol for tonight and I put on there rum, vodka, tequila, you don't necessarily need to have all 3 of those. What's really nice about this drink is that it's easy to mix in between any of those 3 alcohols, whether it's rum, tequila, or vodka. And especially with rum, tonight I'm actually going to be using a dark rum. This is a pineapple flavored rum. This is one of my absolute favorites. I'm working on the boss who's over there doing something to get me a smoker so I can start doing some smoked drinks at home. How she laughed. Joke. But yeah, so white rum, dark rum, vodka, tequila. This drink is really easily mixed between any of those, but don't mix all 3 of those together. That might taste weird. So let's get started. So we're going to do 2 ounces of cream of coconuts. I'm going to be doing everything in my little jigger thing, is what they technical term or something like that is what they call it. So I'm going to measure out 2 ounces of cream of coconut. And for this, I'm going to be using a Ninja. I think more of like a Ninja blender. I think that this gets the pineapple blended pretty well. You don't have to use that. You can use a blender like Adam's using. It'll work just fine as well. So we've got 2 ounces of our coconut cream, and we're going to move on to the good stuff. Now, if you wanted to leave this non-alcoholic, you could definitely do that. You could literally just stop at the coconut cream and do the pineapple chunks. Maybe throw in a little bit of lemon juice, even maybe a little bit of lime juice if you wanted to. And if you really want to go take it a step further, you could substitute the coconut cream and do ice cream instead. But we're trying to stay away from too much ice cream. So I'm going to do 2 ounces of my dark pineapple rum. So 2 for the drink. And cheers, 1 for the show. Mm. That's really good. Woo! All right. So we're also going to do a ½ ounce of Cointreau. You don't necessarily have to have this exact same brand. There are a couple of different brands out there. As a matter of fact, I think Adam's using something a little different.
This is Grand Marnier.
Yes.
Grand Marnier.
Also a good choice.
I got a little tiny bottle because I'm broke. So I got a little. I didn't even buy it. My mother-in-law bought it.
Oh.
She's broke too. We're all broke, but we got to drink a little bit, you know. Okay, I got
Oh
my
my gosh.
Cointreau. I got my cream of coconut. I got my rum. What's next?
Next, we're going to put in a little splash of lime, and you
Oh.
could do a lime. You do a lime press. I'm actually just going to go ahead and hand squeeze my lime right in. Oh my gosh, Publix has been letting me down, everybody, on these limes. These are, you like squish them, and they're the worst.
I got to turn you on to where you're going to go get produce. You got to go to, not the Publix. They got a bad produce situation, unfortunately.
Taylor's popping in.
Amy, I love your shirt.
Oh, is that one of your shirts?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Shameless. So shameless
Bobby.
plug for Taylor's shirts that she's been making, or designs, I guess, because they're not all shirts.
They're on our shop.
Nice. Bobby, I'm not gonna allow you to buy the lime juice in the jar anymore. That's it. You're banned from doing that.
Oh boy.
Sorry,
yeah.
Bobby.
So normally a half of a lime would probably be enough. I actually had to use a whole lime because it wasn't producing for me at all. So, all right. Yeah. So next is going to be our pineapple chunks. I know the recipe said 1 cup. When I started making this afterwards, I found that like this might actually need to be maybe 1.5 cups, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I think try to blend it to what you will enjoy. So
We want. I like it in there. I'm gonna bulk it up. Maybe nothing's wrong with your limes. Maybe your hands are just not as strong as mine.
Oh, really? All right. I see where this is going. I see where this is going.
I mean, I'm definitely I can't do the 10K with you, but I might have a shot at an arm wrestle. Probably not.
Well, maybe. It's been a while for me. All right. Okay. When you guys go to blend this together, remember, if you're trying to go for that Dole Whip consistency, you're going to want this to be nice and thick. So you might have to use a spoon, maneuver it around a little bit in the cup as you're blending it together. So just kind of run with it. I'm going to mute myself so that you guys don't hear me blending.
Don't unmute me again. I'm going to give you a little unpaid endorsement. These Ninja blenders are just the greatest. The greatest. I've used like $600 blenders in kitchens, and like if you could get we got this used at a yard sale for $50. Man, fantastic. And the reason it's fantastic, just to tell you a little bit about blenders, this blender has a thing going right down the middle, you see? And your traditional blender just has the thing on the bottom. So, I mean, I guess everybody in the world now has a Ninja blender, but for me, I mean, I love it. Absolutely love it. These are big glasses. I'm so happy to use these. These used to belong to my dad. How I ended up with them, I have no idea.
Thank you.
But
well, Adam, you have got some nice hurricane glasses. Those are nice. I have some too, but I'm not going to get them out. So I'm going to use this cool Lord of the Rings glass that I have. It's just not made for this drink at all. And as I realize now, the top is not cut properly as I look at it, but that's okay. So this is nice and thick. I like this consistency. I would also go with Adam's endorsement of Ninja. I have only Ninja blender products, and they are fantastic. So cheers to everybody out there.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank you, Josh. L'chada di, l'chada ra, shemei rabah, l'chada ra. What's that mean? I have no idea. But, it
Pretty
sounded
close.
good. Sounded nice, right?
Yeah.
Health. To health.
It is, it's pretty
Yes.
close to a Dole Whip. Is it exactly a Dole Whip? Of course not, because I can't make a real Dole Whip. But
It was good. I think it's good. It's going to be very hard for me to eat it on camera because it's going to get all over my beard, but that's okay. Cheers. Cheers to my wife, my beautiful assistant, and cheers to my mother-in-law. Thank you for buying the Cointreau. Cheers to you. Ching, ching. Yeah, coconut cream. Mmm.
now, I will say there's a couple of changes you could make to this drink if you really wanted to. If you didn't want this frozen like a Dole Whip, but you still want to have that same flavor, you could substitute the pineapple chunks with pineapple juice. And you could also sub out your coconut cream with coconut water. So it's not going to be as thick, probably not as rich with that coconut cream whenever you substitute it with coconut water, but still very refreshing, a little bit lighter, and it's a nice drink on the rocks, so to speak. So
Coconut water. That's nice.
yeah,
How about just plain old, how about just coconut, plain coconut milk? You think that would work?
coconut
too?
milk. That would of course work. Absolutely. For sure.
Right. So many variants of coconut. We're going to talk about, we'll talk about that one day. That's a cool thing in the kitchen. We like to touch on like little bits and pieces of everything. That way, we impart a little culinary knowledge. Right? Right on. So, all right, Josh, we ready to cook?
I'm ready to cook. I just want to remind everybody real quick, if you guys are interested, we do have the next series of the Copycat theme park stuff up online on Adam's website. We've got stuff from Satuli Canteen coming up. We've got crepes. We've got stuff from the Contemporary. We have got stuff from Chef Artsmith, which has one of the best brunch breakfasts that you could possibly have on property. We've got the ever famous Sanaa bread service coming up as well. All of these are going to be copycat recipes that you guys can enjoy, and I'm going to love making them because these are like some of my absolute favorite dishes across property. So if you guys are interested, Adam, are you still doing the special?
Yes.
6 classes for $60, right?
Yep. 6 classes,
So-
$60. Yep.
Yep. So pretty good deal. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up, including the banana stuffed, well, tonga toast is really what it's called. But, we're going to be doing a copycat of that. So it's going to be banana stuffed French toast from the Polynesian Resort. So it's going to be really, excuse me. I'm sorry, guys. It's going to be really good. So I will, I'm going to send it over to you, Adam. Take it away. Let's cook.
Cool. I will. It's so nice doing these little things at home because you really get a taste of the park when you can't be there. And you know what, even if you go to the park a lot, it's nice to have a Saturday night, kick back, make something that you like. And it's kind of cool. And you can compare. And some things, listen, as far as I'm concerned, some stuff is better than the park. Some stuff's not, it's just how it is. But, everything is good, I think. Okay. First thing we're going to do tonight with the cooking is going to be, everybody turn your stove on to 350 degrees. Get your stove ready to go. It says 325, but you know what? Put it up to 350. Okay, now, we all proofed out our bread, excuse me, before, and I used the yeast that I had in my refrigerator, and here's a problem when you're using dry yeast. If you use dry yeast and your bread doesn't rise enough, there's not much you can do about it. Your yeast is dead. Once the yeast is dead, it's dead. You can't do much. Now, I got a little bit of rise out of it, but Not like I saw some Dave posted, it was nice and big. He used like fresh yeast. That's great, you know. Mine wasn't, but it rose enough that we'll be able to use it. But if the yeast is dead, so the thing about yeast is in a year, throw it away. It's not one of those things you can hold on to. It's one of those things that die. So throw it away. Mine, I thought was younger than it was. And that's why old people twist their ankles when they go skiing. The same with yeast, it just dies. So what are you going to do? My bread is half risen, but that's okay. So watch what we're going to do. Watch. If you've ever played a game called dice, they always throw the dice sideways, like this. Okay? That's the legal way if you play, they call the game craps. You throw it sideways like this, the same with flour. That way you get full coverage on your board. My dog thinks food is coming to him. I don't know why he thinks that, because like me, my dog eats all day long. Okay, so now you have your risen your dough. This, by the way, we're making the pineapple coconut bread. Bang it down, get a little bit on each side of your flour, as you can see. Okay, now what we're going to do is, while your bread is there, you need to grease yourself a 13x9 pan. And you could put a little oil on it if you want, but I prefer butter. I just have a little stick of butter, and I just go yabba dabba do, and that's it. Give it a nice little greasy grease. Simple as this. Okay. That'll stay here for a second. Now, this is your dough. You bang your dough down a little bit, and you want to keep the flour going on it so that it doesn't get sticky. So I put a little craps on the bottom, a little craps on the top. Stick it down like this, and what we want to do first, now, there's not much I can really go over at this point because we all made the bread rise, but if you had any problem with your bread rising, one thing you should know is your bread needs to rise in a warm place, like 75 degrees or better. If it's too cold, the bread will not rise. So you need something a warm 75 degrees for about an hour and a half. That's usually, now what I do, I'm in Florida. So for me, I just put it in the garage. But in a general situation, I'll put my oven on at 200, then I'll shut it off. Make sure it's off, because if it's not off, you're in trouble. You'll ruin everything. 200 for about 20 minutes, shut my oven off, let it cool down for about a half hour. Then I take my bread and I proof the whole thing in my oven, because it's like called a proofing box, but you don't want your oven on. Your oven must be off, okay? So that's a little tip for that. Okay, so anyway, your bread has to be covered while it's rising. And if your bread's not covered while it's rising, well, I don't know if you could see this tonight, but you see how it looks gritty? It looks gritty because it wasn't covered properly. Okay, it was supposed to be covered with plastic really tight. That way the air will dry out the dough on the top. And this goes for any kind of dough you're making, okay? So anyway, a little bit more bippity-boo here like this. And we're gonna roll it out a little bit. Not so hard. Okay, now it says, okay, I'm gonna read what it says. Roll dough onto floured surface until it's about 2 inches thick into a rectangle. Okay, so I'm gonna try to roll as best I can into a rectangle. Folks, you guys do the same. Okay. Does it need to be a perfect rectangle? No. Just a basic rectangle the best you can. Okay, now, what you were supposed to do before the class, and if you didn't do it before the class, no sweat. You need to combine your sugar, your cornstarch, and the coconut and the pineapple, and that becomes a mix, and it sits in your refrigerator for about 20 minutes. Now, if you didn't put it in your refrigerator and you're waiting on me to do it, that's no sweat. But the most important part of this whole thing is to drain out your crushed pineapple. Really squeeze it out, okay? And you do not need to wait here, okay? You could do it yourselves right now. So it's 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of cornstarch, mix it in, 1 cup of sugar, not 1 cup of cornstarch, sorry, 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, okay? 1 cup of shredded coconut, 1 can of pineapple, a crushed pineapple, and you're mixing it all together. And make sure your pineapple is not have any juice in it. And I'm going to give everybody a minute to do that. All right. So cornstarch, crushed pineapple, sugar, and the coconut. Mix it all together. There shouldn't be any liquid in it. If you have a strainer, strain it a little bit. And that is going to be that. Okay, and everybody got that together? Okay, so now, so your bread is in this rectangular shape on the counter, and you're going to take your mix and you're going to put it in the middle, and then you're going to fold it over onto itself. Okay. Right in the middle, just take a line right down the middle. This rectangular. Spread it out, so because you're going to fold it over on itself and cut it. And if you feel like you have too much, don't use it all. Leave some over. Okay. So there that is. I think I had enough of a rise in my bread. That's good. Okay. So I have it in the middle here, if you could see. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it over onto itself and cut it into pieces with kind of like with a pizza cutter. So look what I'm doing. Folding it over, closing it up. Okay. Again, the less liquid, the better. Now I'm going to cut it. Now it says pizza cutter. Is a pizza cutter a good idea? Yeah, if you have one. If you don't have one, no sweat. Use a knife. So I have a pizza cutter, but where it is, that's a mystery. So it doesn't matter. This is called a bench scraper. This is a great thing to use too. And it's a great thing to clean up with, by the way. You see them in pizza places. You see them. So I'm going to cut this a couple times, maybe 5 times. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, perfect. Got 5 pieces. Okay, now I have my buttered surface. And I can use also, if you ever get a bench scraper, it goes right underneath it. So if you see what it does, like right underneath, and I could pick it up. 2, 3. Oh man, this is going to be good. 4. 5. Okay. Everybody cool? Everybody see what I did? I cut it into 5 pieces with my bench scraper, and I folded it over on itself with as little liquid as I possibly can. And it looks like Pam says, looks like a calzone, kind of. So squeeze out your liquid. You don't want liquid. That's the key to the whole thing. So, okay. So I'm going to give everybody a minute to catch up, get that going. And I'm going to put mine in the oven at 350 degrees. Now, oh, wait. Brush it. You can brush it. Do I want to brush this one? I don't know if I put that in my instructions. Blah, blah, blah. Fold on itself. Cover plastic. Okay. Okay. No, I'm making a mistake here. I knew I was making a mistake. We're going to let this proof up again. Instead of putting it in the oven, you're going to do exactly what I did, but we're not going to put it in the oven. We're going to let it proof for about another 20 minutes before it goes in the oven, like a second rising. Okay. So my bad. Don't put it into the oven. No, you don't need to cover it, but you're gonna let it proof now again for about 20 minutes before it goes into the oven, which is fine because we have lots of other stuff to do. So I'm just gonna let it proof there for 20 minutes, second rising, so to speak. So my bench scraper, you see, it's a great, just really, really helpful in cleaning up. So, all right, I'll give everybody a minute. All right. All right, any questions? Everybody copacetic? It's not necessary. You could, Pam's reading instructions, you could spray some plastic wrap and then cover it. That might be in a perfect world. If you have it, you could do that. You could spray some plastic wrap and cover it. Do you need to? You don't need to. If I was in a restaurant, I wouldn't do that step. But what it does, remember that crust I showed you before? Well, it could potentially get a little crust, but it's only 20 minutes. So you're not going to really grab a crust so quick, as far as I'm concerned. All right. I'm cleaning, clean as I go. Okay. So we got the oven on. We're going to wait a little while. We're going to let this proof for another 20 minutes. And in the meanwhile, we are going to make our bread pudding. Now, everybody ready for the bread pudding? Are we ready? Ready for the bread pudding? Everybody caught up? Thumbs up? Okay, good. So here's the thing about bread pudding. Really want you to pay attention to this because this is the ultimate chef's dessert. This is the dessert that every chef that doesn't know how to bake and make desserts makes this dessert. Okay, so this is so easy, and I want you to listen because you have so many variations of this. Now, this is the simple base recipe tonight for bread pudding, which you now have, and it's going to give you a nice rise. It's going to look good, but this bread pudding, I'm going to show you how to make a bananas foster sauce, which as far as I'm concerned is just like stone cold nuts. I love it. You know, it's going to taste great. If you have some vanilla ice cream, bananas frosted on top, I mean, you're Wolfgang Puck. I mean, it's really good. And I'm going to show you how to make that sauce. Real simple. But let's say you don't want to make the sauce. Let's say you were going to make those cookies, but you had a fight with your wife and decided you're not going to make cookies. So now you have an extra package of Toll House chocolate morsels. You could throw those in. Let's say your kids were good in school, you bought them some fluff, but you didn't want to give them all of it. You could throw some of this in. Let's say you have a little Nutella. Perfect. You could put some of this in. You could put anything in the world into bread pudding and make it your own. You could put in leftover nuts. You could put in raisins. You could put in M&Ms. You could put in any kind of chocolate. You could put in any kind of toasted nut, and it's always works. It just always works because you bake it and then you can cut it into squares and you could have a nice dessert. Also, I put in here, because this is the first time you made it, fresh from the bakery bread. That's completely unnecessary. You do not need fresh from the bakery bread. As a matter of fact, if you have stale bread, this is a very good use for stale bread, okay? But it does taste a little better if it's fresh, but you know what? You have a loaf of bread, there's no reason why you just cannot have that for yourself. So that's my phone ringing.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's my phone ringing. Yeah, don't get up. Just let it ring. Okay. All right. So we're going to put together our recipe right now. Okay. 5 eggs. Excuse me. My little trick with eggs is don't crack your egg directly into whatever you're making, because if you do that, you're going to get a little shell. We don't want shell. Also, another little thing about eggs, these eggs they call extra large. As far as I'm concerned, that's like the size of a quail egg. So when you get an extra large egg and the recipe calls for 5 eggs, make 6, give them 6 eggs. So I'm going to crack my eggs into a different vessel so that I don't crack any shell into what I'm doing. Okay. So 2, something flatter is better, but frankly, I'm not going to drop any shell. 3, 4. Somebody asked me, what if there's a little blood? Hey, look, I just said I'm such a liar. Look, it fell right in there. 4. What happens if you have a little blood in your egg? Throw it away. That's all. Simple as that. Just throw it away. Okay, and like I said, extra large, I put an extra egg, so I have 6 eggs. Okay, so there are my eggs. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, and I'm going to put in the eggs into my bigger container. See, and by cracking them into another thing, I could have saved myself that problem of the shell. This is a bad thing to use a cup because you can't reach in there, but well enough work. Okay, there it is, eggs, 3 cups of whole milk. You want to use low-fat milk, no-fat milk, extra rice milk. If you could drink milk, use the good stuff. This is a half cup, so I need 6 of these. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 6 eggs, 3 cups of milk, little tablespoon, half teaspoon of salt. You always want to offset your stuff with a little salt, just a little bit of salt, and 1.5 cups of sugar. This is a half cup measure, so I'll show you. 1. Actually, I'm going to a little bit more sugar. Okay, so 1.5 cups of sugar. And half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Take it easy with your nutmeg. You have too much nutmeg, it's like a bad Christmas cookie. You know what I mean? So just a little bit. It's just like an offset it so that you have that nice flavor. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix these things together, ready for my next step, which is going to be the bread. Oh, this is good because my coconut bread, pineapple bread is rising. Okay, so stir together your nutmeg, your eggs, your sugar, your salt, your milk. Make sure your eggs are broken up. And even a little bit of nutmeg. Can you put cinnamon in here? Sure. Can you put cardamom? Sure. Can you put different kinds of sugar? Sure. I mean, bread pudding is probably like one of the most forgiving things you can make in the kitchen. It really is. Okay, so that's all stirred up. Now my bread. Well, 8 cups of bread. So essentially what you want to do is you want to rip. You want to rip it. You want to rip some, Pam, since you're around? Thank you so much. You want to rip small pieces of bread. Now, if you don't want to rip, you could also cut. But you want small pieces. You do not want big pieces. Little cubes, like big croutons. Okay. You can cut, you could rip. You can get your kids involved. You can do lots of stuff. Now, like I said, this is a base recipe. So that means that you could conceivably put anything, like I said, anything into your, get creative, man. And if you do make a different kind of bread pudding, put it on Adam's Cooking Jam so you could share it with the world. Now, I make fancier restaurants. Sometimes I make alcohol. I put a little alcohol in there. Graham Maillet bread pudding is delicious. I've done that before. I've made a Bailey's bread pudding before, where you could actually use it as a sauce. So you serve it warm, Then you put a little Bailey's on top, a little ice cream. I mean, you have a real winner. Okay. Now I'll tell you one other little niblet. Yeah, not the ends. So I told you that you need 8 cups of bread, right? So 8 cups of bread, what's that mean? I mean, the bread could be fluffy. Somebody could have pushed it down. It could have. That's the reason that real baking is all done by weight. That's how you really get an accurate measure. You know, no doctor's ever going to give you medicine saying, "Oh, that's 1 cup of, you know, labetatol." You know, it doesn't work that way. It works by weight. That's why it's a gram weight. It's 2 milligrams, or it's always done that way because that's the most accurate way to measure things, not by volume. Volume is, you know, not an accurate measure. Okay, that's that. Now I'm going to mix, mix, mix. And it says you want to put it into a 10-inch greased cake pan. That'll work beautifully. But I want to show you one little thing before we do that. Make sure that everything is incorporated really well, because if your bread's not like completely wet, it needs to really be saturated. And it's going to souffle, which means rise. That's all that's going to happen. Okay. Now, if this was oven safe, I'd just put this whole thing in the oven, but I have, meanwhile, these little things. Now, sometimes I prefer to make smaller ones because if I'm not going to eat it, I can freeze it. So let's see what we got. Probably 2 of these are going to be good. Yeah, okay. So look, when you put it in your vessel, whatever it is, you have to push it so that it's even. That's all. Just even it out. It's going to be a little liquidy, totally fine. And I have enough here that I'm going to make myself 2. So that's 1. This is 2. All right. One's a little taller than the other, so the other one's going to come out, but it just essentially looks like that. Simple, simple, simple. Now, what you could do, what I like to do sometimes, you could sprinkle a little sugar directly on top. It'll get a little crunchy, not a lot, because you don't want it to burn, but it won't because it's pretty wet. And then you take these and you put them directly into the oven and you let them bake for an hour, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. You could put them on a sheet tray. It's a good idea, so you can get them out easily. Would I make them and not bake them? No, I wouldn't, because there's a lot of milk liquids in there. So I wouldn't do that. Hey, and you know what? Generally, since I'm making the same thing, but I have leftover pineapple coconut mix here. I would definitely throw this in there if I wasn't, you know, doing it on TV in front of you guys, you know, because you have it. Why throw it? You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do with this little bit of coconut? And but you're not going to eat it. It's going to go in the garbage. So you might as well bulk up your bread pudding if you wanted to. All right, I'm going to give everybody a minute to catch up. Slurp on your drink, and then we're going to make some bananas Foster, which is like the best. Any questions? How about you? Got any questions? My mother-in-law's here. I'm doing well, thank you. I got a thumbs up from my mother-in-law. Thank you. She's very proud of me. That's good. Somebody's happy. Bobby, next time we go to the store, what are we gonna get? Limes, real limes. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. You know, that goes for everything and everybody, you know, they squeeze 2 things. First of all, supermarkets, the way the world works now is Supermarkets pre-cut, pre-squeeze, pre-mix, pre-do everything for us because it's faster, it's easier for us. But generally, I'm going to say almost 100% of the time, pre-cut vegetables, pre-cut fruits, juiced items, you're always better off buying the item itself and cutting it and doing it yourself, and spend the extra 5 minutes for two reasons. First of all, it's going to taste much better. And secondly, it's going to be much less expensive. So I just made, I'm going to be running a kitchen for the upcoming summer. And, you know, I was talking to this woman today about the kitchen and the vendors. She uses a vendor that does everything for her. Well, why do you hire a professional chef? Because the quality of what I'm going to turn out is going to be much better if you let me cook it. You know, I don't need pre-done almost anything. So sometimes it's practical, but generally, no. Okay, there's my speech. That's a beautiful bowl, Amy. Val, what a big bowl you got there. I thought I was looking at it like, wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, Bananas Foster. So, excuse me. Long ago and far away, restaurants did a lot of things tableside. A lot of things. And the tableside service was part of the fun of going to a fancy restaurant on a Saturday night. You get dressed up, and the waiter usually, or the major domo or the captain would come over and start making things tableside. And I thought it was really cool. As a matter of fact, I was the last class in my culinary school 20 years ago that part of our training was tableside service, how to take up a fish and take it off of the bone in front of the people. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is one of the most classic desserts that are ever done tableside. Zabouillon is one, which is a custard that's made of eggs tableside, and Bananas Foster is too, because they could put a nice scoop of ice cream on a plate, and then they make you Bananas Foster. It's ooh, ah, whoa, and then they pour it over, and it's awesome. So Bananas Foster is also one of those things where you probably have most of the ingredients. Okay, so anyway, if you're going to do this along with me, you need a pan, and you need something that's going to. I need something. I need more counter space. That's what I. Yes, perfect. Perfect. This is good for this, right? All right. And they usually use a little pan like this. And they come over, did you enjoy your duties? So, and like that. So here you turn on your pan, and they start making jokes and smile at the ladies and blah, blah, blah. And here they go. 4 ounces of, I'm going to make a little less because I don't need it. 4 ounces of white sugar. Okay. 4 ounces of brown sugar. Do I need a lighter? Oh, yes, I will need a lighter. Pam makes a good point. 4 ounces of brown sugar. Does it have to be perfect? No. I'm doing it this way. You guys should probably measure. 4 ounces of corn syrup. Why brown sugar? Why corn syrup? Why white sugar? Because they're different in their taste, they're different in their texture, and that's why. So we're going to melt the white sugar, the brown sugar, and the corn syrup all together. Also in here is going to go the butter. Okay. Cut up my butter. Keep it moving because it is sugar. Sugar burns. Now, not only does sugar burn in the pan, sugar burns, okay? Getting sugar on you is like napalm. What does that mean? It sticks to you. It's the worst burn you're going to get in the kitchen, okay? So my butter's melting. Here goes my half and half. Right in there. Your heavy cream, not half and half. So I have my heavy cream, I have my butter, I have my sugars, and now they're all melting together and they're going to reduce. Okay. Now, what it said to do here was slowly add your heavy cream. I don't think it's necessary. You're just going to stir it as it's thickening. Now, if for some reason, now I did something here that you guys are not doing at home, which is, you need a little vanilla extract, teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay. Now, I did not have heavy cream. I had half and half. So that means that it's not going to be as thick as I like. So you guys have been cooking with me for a couple of weeks. Who knows what trick I'm going to do to thicken this up a little bit? Does anybody know? I'm going to throw in an ingredient that we used earlier in the night, just to thicken it up a little bit. Does anybody know? The answer would be cornstarch, because cornstarch is a thickening agent, okay? But I'm going to let this reduce a little bit. And the last part of this, as it's reducing, and it is reducing, you watch it, okay? And it's going to reduce nicely. The banana, in a restaurant, now I don't want it to boil over, but it's just going to boil. I only want to boil it for about 3 minutes, okay? You don't want it to boil over. Turning it down a little bit. Now, my banana in a restaurant, a lot of times they will do the bananas last, and you should do them last, except I don't want mine to boil over. So I'm going to put my banana in. It's going to change the temperature of it right away. But it should be thickening up, because cream is going to thicken up, because that's the nature of it. Whole banana. Okay, very nice. Now I'm going to want to thicken this up more myself, because the consistency of this should be thicker than this. I'm going to thicken mine up with a little cornstarch to show you what it looks like, okay? And the reason that mine didn't thicken properly is because I didn't have heavy cream. I used half and half, which is half milk. So never fear, Adam the Great is here. I will find a little cornstarch. I think I put it away. Well, anyway, the cornstarch I will use to thicken it up. Here it is. Okay, so anytime you use cornstarch, you must create something called a slurry. Now, what a slurry is a liquid that you mix with the cornstarch to make it look like heavy cream. So I'm going to put a little milk, 2.5 tablespoons of milk, and about the same with my cornstarch. Okay, maybe a little less. And I'm going to mix it together so it looks like heavy cream. So what I'm going to do is turn this up now. Now you see how liquidy it is? Check it out. See how it's moving around? Okay, I'm going to thicken it up. All I'm doing is putting in this liquid. And when you're in like a Chinese restaurant, you're eating like bourbon chicken, this is how it's done. Now it must come to a boil. And because the only way you could add cornstarch to an item is if it's boiling. Okay, it's coming to a boil. I want you guys to really see this. I will. I'll hold it up. Okay, so you see how liquid it is? Now look what happens. It's going to come to a boil. Once it's boiling, I'm going to put in my cornstarch and show you how it's going to thicken. Okay, boiling, cornstarch. Move it around. And the thickening process will begin. You can see that it'll start bubbling less and less. The bubbles will kind of get bigger and tighter. Okay, now we are going to flambe this. What does that mean? We're going to set it on fire. Okay, Pam's a little scared. So, yeah, it's thickening up. Okay, now when you flambe it, you should be able to brown the banana a little bit. Okay, it's boiling. I'm going to take a little bit of my rum. Not all Grand Marnier. I think I'm going to use Grand Marnier. I think it's going to taste even better. Okay, and when you flambe something, okay, the alcohol is going to go in, and you're going to tilt the pan forward to try to grab the front of the alcohol. See it? Do you see it go up? Okay, it went up and it went down. That's fine. Because what you're doing is you're burning off the alcohol. Now, if I put in more alcohol, it would burn longer. Okay, there it is, burned out. Perfecto, good. There it is. Bananas, flambe. Quick. I'm gonna let them relax a little bit. Nice and thick. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna show you now what it looks like. What a perfect looking flambe will look something like this. Still a little liquid because it's a sauce, but that's flambe. That's what it is. Now, I'm a big fan of it. I like Grand Marnier in it. You can put rum in it. You have a lot of moves that you can make. Okay, so now what we're going to do is put in our pastry into the oven, our coconut bread. Now, I want to show you one thing about the coconut bread before we put it in the oven. It's starting to, some liquid is coming out, okay? So if a lot of liquid comes out, no, I don't have a lot of liquid, but if you have a lot of liquid, change your sheet tray. Because you're not looking for these things to steam, you're looking for these things to bake. So I don't have a lot of liquid, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some of that liquid. Okay, I could change sheet trays if I wanted to, but I don't have another one available. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of liquid. Nothing crazy. But like I told you earlier, make sure your pineapples are well drained. Okay, and these proofed a little more, which I'm happy about because I was worried about my yeast. Now these are going to go into the oven, and they're going to go into the oven for about, how long did we suggest to do this? 25 minutes until they're golden brown. Okay, 25 minutes until they're golden brown. They're going to go into the oven. In my oven still is my banana bread, banana pudding, that's still baking. So, okay. Now, how do you know when the banana bread is done? It should be, when you touch it, it should be kind of stiff. Okay, it should be so that your finger, like, should have a little firmness. It shouldn't have a super duper firmness, like really strong, like a brick. It should have a little firmness, but it should bounce back a little bit. Everybody cool with what I'm talking about with the bread pudding? Good, cool. Okay, so we have a flambe, nice. We have a bread pudding in the oven. We have our other bread in the oven. And questions? Any questions? Anybody? Okay, the more you drink, the better this is going to taste. Okay, Dave, I'm ready for you, buddy. What do you got?
So our bananas Foster didn't catch on fire. Did we put, I mean,
You put a lot in there.
I put a lot of alcohol in there, but I tried to light it and it didn't catch. Any reason?
Okay.
I mean, are we not using
What kind of alcohol are you using? What are you
that
using?
Morgan Spice rum?
Okay, that should be fine. Okay, so what happened was when you put the alcohol in the pan, you want to lean forward. Okay, you want to lean forward a little bit so that it doesn't go directly into all your liquid. Because if it gets incorporated too quickly, that's why it's not burning. Okay, so you put it right on top. Now, the way this is traditionally done that makes it much better is that it's usually done in an open flame. So when the guy puts it in, it's like on a little cooking top. These things almost don't exist anymore. So you kind of just lean it forward and it catches and it just burns up. Okay, but it probably got incorporated too quickly. My first shot was perfect. My second one wasn't. So, and you want to burn off alcohol, not because you don't want to drink it, but you want to burn off the vapors because they can make things bitter, bitter like me. Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
Yeah,
Adam.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions about our food here? Now you can make this banana sauce in advance. I don't want to brag, but it's it kind of tastes perfect. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's butter, it's sugar. I mean, how bad could it be? Oh, someone asked me, can you make bananas Foster without sugar and the butter and make it kind of like fat-free and more friendly? Absolutely, you can't. Okay, don't eat it. Don't even try. Don't bother me. That's ridiculous. Okay, it's butter, it's sugar. You can't do anything about it. And you ever think, excuse me, you ever been to France? The people in France are generally thin. Why? Because they don't eat tremendous portions. They eat smaller portions, eat a little bit less, but don't skimp on how you're making it in this case. So it'll hold up for a while. Your bread's baking, your banana pudding's breaking. With the banana pudding, how I would serve it, I would let it cool down for 3 or 4 minutes, cut a nice square and fry on a white plate, big scoop of ice cream, your bananas Foster right on top. You're golden. You have a $12 dessert for about $1.50. Okay. The pineapple bread is going to be awesome. And I think that pretty much sums it up. I just want to say before we go tonight that the next class, the 2.0, we're going to make some really good food. Like that bread from Sanaa, that is really, people really going to be good. And we're also going to make these omelets that people are really going to like, the breakfast. Josh, was there anything else on that list that you thought was going to be really cool as far as the
aside from the Sanaa, I'm really looking forward to the Hallelujah Biscuits. This is from Chef Art Smith. If you guys have never seen this before, have never eaten there, I'm not sure that you can go to Chef Art Smith's Homecoming in Disney Springs and get something that's not good. But this sandwich is, I think, by far probably one of the best things you can get there. So super, super excited to make that. And I'm just going to let everybody know now that we will be, I know it's more breakfast, but we're going to be making a nice spicy Bloody Mary. Yes, to go with that for a cocktail. So I'm already planning the cocktails for the next series. So now I'm looking forward to, of course, the Hallelujah Biscuit. And it's not, is it next week? The Satuli, the start of the beef bowl from Satuli Canteen? Pull it up real quick. I think it might actually be next week. I think it was when we start.
Next week.
next week? Cool.
Yeah, that's also a super popular one. It's an amazing quick service over at Disney Springs. I rank it as top 3 quick services across all property. And the beef kind of protein bowl, you can do a bunch of different things, whether it's beef, chicken, tofu, whatever. But
protein
Adam's
bowl,
showing
yeah,
us
cool.
how to make it next week. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So super pumped.
Yeah. The protein bowl is great because, like Josh said, it's like not just like you'll learn the protein bowl from the parks, but it's endless what you could do. Like once you learn the technique.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what? I've been doing a lot of cooking classes the last 6 months now, and these techniques, it's about the techniques. It's not about the food. It's not about the particular recipe. It's about knowing now, now you know how to make a bread pudding, but maybe you want to make a pistachio bread pudding. You understand? It's really just about that. It's about not being intimidated. You run the kitchen doesn't run you. So anyway, post some pictures on Adam's Cooking Jam. Peace and love, everybody. Enjoy your Saturday night. Josh Rippey, thank you so much. Josh and Tail, WDW, love you guys. Appreciate you cooking with us tonight. And we'll see you all next week. Post some pictures, okay? And any questions, you can always email. And if I don't answer your email, hey, Tail, if I don't answer your email in like 8 hours, send me another one because that means I missed it, okay? Thanks, Taylor. Okay, good night, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good night, guys.
Are we done?
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody, for being here.
Good night.
Bye, guys.